You're listening to Chill Your Mind Radio.
What's going on, everybody? We're going to get started. And this is just a quick little impromptu video I'm doing, all right? Real quick, let me throw it on my desktop. All right, here we go. We're going to knock it out. I just want to touch base on the BTC trade that I called out last week out of the Discord chat. All right. I'm going to try and keep up with the chat here on YouTube, but this is actually my first YouTube live that I'm doing for trading. So we're going to see how it goes. Yeah, you got it. You got it. I'll try to keep up with it. All right. I'm just going to kind of break it down, tell you exactly what my thoughts were and why I took the trade where I took. If you guys just remember in the Discord group that I sent out, I was looking, let's just break it down here, right here. All right. So I was looking on November 25th. I sent this chart out right here. And this is ultimately what I was looking at. I was looking for the sells on BTC to take this lower. And we'll kind of go through my thought process here. All right. So let me pull up the chart that I was looking at. Charts. On the 25th, this is what I was looking at. All right. If you guys were on Zach McDonald's session that day on the 25th, Zach was showing some good distribution on BTC. I happen to see a really nice candle that I wanted to play off of, and we'll go from there. So just to look at it, this was my thought process, right? My initial entry off the last point of supply did miss off this 5-minute candle, and I'm going to go into the chart and actually show you where I was looking. But obviously I was looking to target in here off of this candle. It missed. The next point for me was, if you look at this entire price action on a 45-minute time frame, right, on the 45-minute chart, this entire candle is a decent candle I wanted to play off of. So what I wanted to see was us create and break this low, come back up into the 45-minute candle. My stops were just above these highs. All right. So we're talking, maybe what is about 115 pips or 110 pips if I'm doing the math right. And my original targets, where we had some equal lows down over to the left side that I'll show you, those are my first targets. And then where I was really wanted to get into was the H1, H4 down candle to see what kind of reaction we were going to get there. Okay. So, and these are the equal lows I was targeting. All right. Those were the first targets I wanted to see us get into. The second area I was looking at was, and we'll get into it. All right. I won't show this, but that's my final take profit right there. H4, H1. You could see the R to R on this was just over 15 to 1. I ended up using 141 pip stop loss is what I was using, but we came into that 45-minute candle, relatively quick move. One of the things I've noticed about BTC is when we're going up, she likes to take the stairs up, and when she sells, she jumps out the window. All right. So BTC does print really, really nice schematics. That's one of the reasons I like to trade it. All right. So let's get into the chart. I'll run you through exactly what I was looking at, why I was looking at it. All right. And it was up in this area here. So when we think about retail trading, the reason retail trading works for a good significant amount of time, right, is that there are schematics for Wyckoff theory that create these, in this case, double tops, right? The double tops. But if you don't understand where you are in the schematic, that's where you're ultimately going to lose a lot of positions trading off of, support and resistance, double tops, double bottoms, the M and W patterns, right? Unless you understand where you are in the schematic, that's where it's key. So if we jump down to a 1-minute time frame on BTC real quick, we're going to get up in here. Okay. What we had here was a really nice distribution schematic. All right. And bear with me here. I'm just going to get up into it. All right, we'll go to a 5-minute chart because the 5-minute chart looks a little cleaner on here. All right. So when we get up into this schematic, Ultimately, what I like to do is I like to box it off, right? I like to come in here. We will, and I'm very meticulous about my colors. All right. When we come in here, we have our first area that we want to see. It's a preliminary supply area, right? This is where the market starts to slow down and indicate that we potentially are going to get a reversal. Okay. One of the key things I like to do is from the previous swing low, or the previous, in this case, because we're going up, the previous lower high, lower low. All right, in this case here. So from this point here, this was the expansionary move. This was the pullback. That pullback, for it to consider it a preliminary supply, I need a minimum of a 38.2 retracement. In this case, you could see from this impulse move up to the retracement, it was just over 50%. So that qualifies as a valid preliminary supply point. All right, my next area that I'm going to come up to is our buying climax right in here. All right. Now, the buying climax is the first area where I want to see a change of character, right? I want to see a change of character. And ultimately, what I want to see is this entire area here is going to be our change of character. All right. From the buying climax, we did have a automatic rally. Correction, an automatic reaction. All right. That's our AR. And then from there, what I was looking to see was a secondary test. All right. Now, our secondary test, which is just a test of the supply zone, okay, comes in right here. Okay. So buying climax right here. We end up just testing. So, I mean, ultimately, this was the final buying climax right here. We ended up coming down, and here we'll clean it up. We'll just make it nice and clean. Okay, end up coming down for our first change of character. Okay, and ultimately what that signifies is that break of structure. Okay, that break of structure from this last pullback. So this is our change of character, secondary test. From our secondary test, we test down to the bottom of the range and ultimately create an up thrust. All right, that's what this big move up is. All right, taking out anybody selling from this point of resistance, right? Anyone selling from these points of resistance, that up thrust does that. We immediately see signs of weakness. All right, so this is going to be our minor sign of weakness by coming down into the trading range and coming back into the trading range, which is our LPS. All right, our LPSY, which is our last point of supply. All right. And that's ultimately what this does. It tests the last point of supply. You can see clear supply area. For those break and retest traders, anyone that deals with zones. All right. That's what that is. That zone is a last point of supply. All right. Now from that, all right, my confirmation that I would need for an entry, right, for an entry now is for us to break ultimately structure. Okay. So when we're looking at structure here, all right, if this was our high, this is our low, this is our next high, our next low, our high, we broke structure here, right? So now this is our new lower low. Okay. If this is our new lower high, I would need us to continue down and make a new lower low. So based off of that, this is our new lower low. We really didn't pull back high enough for a retracement. So now this becomes our new lower low. All right. So our range is literally right here. We need to find an entry somewhere in that area. Okay. So for me, let me just take off these right here. We really don't need them. Okay. So for me, immediately looking at the 5-minute time frame, I am looking at this 5-minute candle right here. Okay. That was my 5-minute candle I was looking at. You can see we throw a 5-minute right on there, and we just missed that entry. Okay. So no worries. What happens? We create a new lower low. Right? If this is structure right here, this is our lower high, here's our new lower low. So obviously where I'm looking for a potential entry now, okay, is going to be somewhere in between these ranges. So for me, my target was this 45-minute candle. You can see it very cleanly on there. All right, right here. This is my target that I wanted to target for the entry. All right, if we throw that 45-minute on there, stops were just above the high on it. Ideally, you could have found a tighter stop off of lower time frame if the mitigation was clean. But for me, I was okay with 129 pips. All right. I mean, realistically, we could have come down to potentially the 5-minute, and you can see ideally yeah, no, I probably still would have done it. Yeah, I still would have done it onto the 129. All right. But ultimately, that was the play, right? That was the play. The entry was based off of that. All right. So it was about 130 pips, all right, plus your spread, whatever you were going to count. Now, my first targets, right? My first targets were these equal lows right here, because those equal lows for me constitutes money. All right. And then after that, where I was looking, okay, where I was looking was ultimately into this H4 candle right down here, because this is, for me, that last point where the market pulled back into, found some demand, right? Found some buyers to take the market up. I was looking into that as an overall target. My next area that I was going to after these equal lows was right off of this H4 candle. Okay. So you can see the market came into that, and we're showing some signs of accumulation. All right. Some signs of accumulation. So the play for me was pretty clean. The ultimate goal for me was into that H1. You could see the risk to reward on it. In this case was just under 17 to 1. All right. For every dollar you risked, you made 17 almost back on it. Okay. So that's what I was looking on the sell portion of it. I'm still looking for sells, and I'm going to tell you why. You can see what I've got marked up here. All right. Looking at it from, we can just go to like a 30-minute time frame, right? Looking at it from this point of view, we are seeing some lower time frame accumulation. Ideally, am looking for a short-term buy, all right, short-term buy to come back into this candle right here to target up into this last point of supply right here. This was my entry area for the sell. I want to get a reaction in this area, potentially of small time frame distribution to take this lower. All right. That's what I'm looking at. And the reasons I'm looking at that, right? If we break it down, let me pull up. I've already got it drawn out here so you guys can see it. Bear with me. Let this open up. Okay. So when we look at the accumulation side, right? When we're looking at the accumulation side, we have a preliminary support, all right, from this to this. This did come to 38.2, so that is valid. We do have a selling climax, right? The first area where I'm looking for that change of character. Market comes down a little lower for a secondary test. However, after our secondary test, we do trade above, okay, our automatic rally, creating an upthrust action, which is one thing I need to see if this happens, okay? After that, we come back and create another secondary test. And from here, I had two scenarios that I wanted to see play out, okay? I need to see we stay inside of this trading range. I need to see us create a spring to take lows, trade up, a break of structure, trade down into whatever candle created our spring and take that up. Or in the case that what happened, if we trade above the UA, it is a break of structure. Because if we look at structure, right, low, high, low, high, low, high is our first break of structure. We maintain structure here. So now this becomes a lower high. All right. So if now we make a new high, this here is maintaining structure. This candle right here maintains our bullish momentum on the 30-minute time frame. Okay. So if we continue to look at what we're seeing, all right, bear with me here. Oh, that doesn't go in there. Okay. So if we come down to the 1-minute time frame, and you can see I've already got it marked off, but all of our structure points, okay, we did have some equal lows here. When the market came into this price action to take those equal lows, all right, it then broke structure on the 1-minute, came back into this price action to mitigate out of the sell to buy, and then drove price up higher. Okay. So that's one of the reasons I went down in the lower time frame. And then on the 30-minute time frame, you can see how structure low, high, low, high, low. This is that area that grabs those equal lows. Price break structure comes back to mitigate out of the position. As price makes a new high, it trades back down into 50% of this 30-minute candle, right? Price likes 30 likes the entry or the open of candles and the 50%. So as it mitigates, and that's where the check mark meets, it mitigates out of this 30-minute candle and we trade above the trading range, right? We trade above this UA. At this point, I'm no longer interested in seeing price return and take out with the spring candle, take out all of that. All right. To me, that would give me evidence of a shakeout. This would be our shakeout. And if we do create a creek, right? I don't want to see, there's no bias for us to go higher at that point. All right. At that point, we would be looking for a redistribution. All right. Whether, however price action kind of builds itself, if this is a trend line being built here, I'd consider this our ice. And if we break through the ice, a mitigation of that would now tend for me to speculate that we're going to go lower from here. All right. If that, hopefully that makes sense. All right. So at this point, because we've traded outside of the trading range, made a new high, I'm not expecting us to break structure on a spring to then go higher. All right. I don't want to see that. And where current price action is currently, you can see that it's heading into this box that says distribution. So at this point, as we get closer, I no longer, and especially if we break above this high right here, if we break above this high right here, I would be no longer interested, all right, in taking a buy from a drop in price, taking out these lows, right? The spring, if you will, all right, or the shakeout, I would be no longer interested. At this point, where we're currently at, if we break above this high, all right, if we do break above this high, I just want us to start to trade up and really see some compression in price. I want to see price evenly compress like this. And as we get into this point of interest, that's when I see us now distribute on a 1, 3, 5 minute time frame. Really see some distribution happening. We go up, create an up thrust, a UTAD, break structure, come into whatever candle price action shows. That's my entry, and then down we go. All right. And the reason I'm really favoring that is, again, structure is the be all end all, right? Structure is be all end all for me. So if we look at a 4-hour time frame, let's just go to Bitstamp. I think that's where I marked it up. Yeah. Okay. So if we look at the 4-hour time frame, right? If we look at our 4-hour time frame, what is happening? All right. So let's just go from here, right? So this is our low. All right. Our next high is here. This is our low, our high, our low, our high, our low. We create a new high. Okay. Once we break this area right here, we have now broken H4 structure, right? That is an H4 structure break. It's on the daily, the same thing. So we've broken daily in H4. All right. This was our distribution in here. So on a 1 hour, or in my case, I'm looking at the 30-minute, a 30-minute accumulation up is simply the retracement to the original H4 structure break. Okay. So I would be looking to target lower, areas. And you can see we've got a trend line here. I'd be looking to at least come up to this trend line, see if we can violate the trend line. This trend line contains a lot of money, right? Whatever traders were buying here and here and here, right, are doing it off that trend line. All right. So I'd be looking to target the trend line as a sell, and then just looking at it from a larger time frame, we do have a lot of inefficient price action, right? Whether we get down, into, some of the mid 15,000s or even lower, I'm going to be targeting that. All right. So we do have a significant break. And like I said, just looking at the candles. All right. If you just look at the candles, and you can see here, this is where I marked it up. Our daily close candle, I mean, that is a significant closure, right? You can see the momentum behind that. We're expecting that anyway. BTC did rally for a significant amount of time. So honestly, that's what I'm looking. That's what I'm favoring. Whether we come into simply this daily candle right here at 18,372, which ultimately lines up in that area, right? Where I'm potentially looking for sell is in this area here. That daily candle is just below it. So I'm curious to see how it plays out. Ultimately, I'm going to be watching price action as we get up. I do have my alerts. All right. You can see I do have my alerts up here as we get into this area. I'm going to see how we trade. All right. I'm going to see how we trade. Um, so we'll see how that plays out. All right. We'll see how that plays out. I'm going to check the chat real quick here and let me just see if I can answer any questions if you guys have any. If not, like I said, I just wanted to do a little quick impromptu YouTube live and see, kind of give you my ideas of what I was looking at. All right. Let me just check the chat real quick. See how that plays out. All right. We'll see how that plays out. All right. All right. Awesome. Awesome. Did that spring take away the equal highs? Which you're talking about up here, up on the top? The spring did. Yeah. So like if we come, I think that's what you're looking at. Hold on. So you're talking about this right up here, this spring? Yeah, it did. You can see if we just come, right, it didn't leave equal highs. But now, more importantly, what I would be looking at though is this right here. Right here. All right. So we did have these equal highs. Right. So you can say that there's money sitting there, definitely money sitting here. That grabbed it. Now, when we look at it, remember I said 50s and opens, right? So you can see the market came up, took liquidity. This is the institutional candle. Price comes, breaks structure, right? You can see how we break structure, and then we mitigate back into this candle, right? Open and close of the candle, right to 50%. All right. We came right back into 50% and then the drop. So essentially for me, mitigated here, this is mitigated. We do have obviously that candle that price can return up to. Okay. So this 15-minute candle is still in play. Ideally that's why on my setup, I'm looking in this area here for distribution. If I see price action give me that distribution, I will sell it from here. All right. If not, I'm looking at this 15-minute candle, which is like in the 19,250 price range. All right. But that right there is pretty clean. Let me just delete. Yeah, that's pretty clean, especially how price, essentially FUs takes out the liquidity out of these equal highs, immediately breaks structure, comes back to 50% of the 15-minute and drops. All right. So yeah, very clean. I like BTC a lot for schematics. They're awesome. Awesome. I can go over the ice break path again. Yeah. So real quick for the ice and creek, just two things real quick. On distribution, you have an ice, right? Because you fall through the ice, and on accumulation, you have a creek. You jump the creek. Okay. So what I would be looking for on, potentially if this was going to be redistribution, right? If this was going to be redistribution, because you have to understand if you have accumulation, you could have redistribution. If you have distribution, you can have reaccumulation, right? But you can't have you can't have the opposite or the diametrically opposed versions of it. So if this was ideally the ice, right? Whether I draw it from like that, and this is again why retail traders who trade trend lines often sometimes win at it, right? So we have two trend lines. All right. If at this point, because we are above structure, I would still venture to say that this trend line does not hold any water for me. It would be this one here, because this is our structure wise, this is our low. All right. And we just broke structure. So ideally, if we come up here and trade and now ideally make a new lower low, wherever it's going to be, just say we come back to the trend line. All right. We come back to the trend line. That is our new lower low. All right. So now this is our ice. Okay. This trend line is our ice, because now if price comes back up, makes a new high, or fails to make a new high and then breaks through the ice, all right, I'd be looking somewhere up in here, hypothetically, for a mitigation play and then a sell off from here. And that would be redistribution. All right. But to be honest, like the way we're trading right now, I'm going to go with the idea or the mindset that we have accumulated on the smaller time frame. All right. And price is just going to trade up very nicely into my point of interest wait for the price action to show me distribution, and then we're going to sell off. All right. Then we're going to sell off. All right. Awesome. Well, that's all I have. I mean, I just wanted to do a quick little YouTube live here, give you a little analysis, kind of walk you through my mindset, and it is what it is 129 pips on BTC, essentially 12.9 pips. So no, just don't compare it. I mean, all you got to remember is a pip is a point in percentage, right? A point in percentage. So, yeah, I mean, BTC moves in higher pips. So if we're just going to go, if we just measure from like current, where price took off from here down to this SC, right? It's 2,348 pips, right? So you can just look right here, 2,348 pips, or it would be 234 points, right? It'd be 234 points, because what you're doing is you're measuring the point system. So 17,855 to 17,856 is 1 point, or it's 10 point in percentages. Okay. Because then what you're doing is just moving the decimal, if that makes sense. All right. Awesome. Yeah, it goes to a video. It'll be posted on my YouTube. So if you don't subscribe to the YouTube, just subscribe and it'll alert you when it posts. All right. But other than that, I'm gonna call it a day. I got some steaks on the grill that I'm gonna throw out, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully it gave you a little clarity, some understanding on my mindset. All righty. Enjoy. And if you're not in the Discord group where we're really kind of sharing a lot of these ideas and education, hit me up on Instagram. My Instagram is same name on my YouTube, Fibs and Profits. I'll throw you in the Discord group. All right. Enjoy. I'm glad you guys jumped on. Have a good one.